What is up, guys? Today we're going to be doing a real quick video to talk about Drew Kennett's regional winning list from this past weekend in Salt Lake City Regionals in Utah. And we'll talk about why it's so unique, why it's so different, and what really catapulted Drew to that win. They have an interview over at Someone's PC, their channel. Go check that out if you want to hear Drew talk about his run throughout the event. It's very in-depth. Congratulations to Drew once again. Drew, for those of you who didn't know, won a regionals back in 2016 with Greninja Break. So it is really cool to see Drew coming back full circle 6 years later, picking up a second regional win. Yeah. So let's take a look at Drew's list. Now, Drew played a 4-2 Arceus line, which I think is super fine. I think this is super okay. I thought Drew was playing a 3-2 from the stream games that I watched, but a 4-2 I really like because Arceus is probably one of the best starters in the deck. You really do want to get that Trinity charge off to accelerate onto the Gengar for your turn 2, turn 3 play. Even if you're up against like a Mew VMAX deck or something of that nature, having either Arceus or the Gengar to kind of continue to play the game is very strong, and you can even get 2 Gengars down if possible, attach 2 to one and 1 to the other with the Darkness energies, giving yourself a chance to play the game the next turn with the Raihans that they have in the deck. Now, with 2 copies of Arceus VSTAR, you're pretty much okay doing whatever you want with Starbirth, etc. There's a 3-2 Gengar VMAX line, which is super okay. I think you don't really need more than 1 VMAX per game. And I think Drew mentioned in their interview that Hyper Potion was one of the few cards that really came in clutch, because after getting 3 Dark Energies onto a Gengar, their Gengar didn't really go down because they could Hyper Potion, the attach double turbo, Hyper Potion, get the damage off, and then, you know, switch, go back into the attack as they chose to see fit. 3-2 Bibarel line. My group also played Bibarel. We really understood the value of such a card. It really lets you refill your hand at a lot of times. And traditionally, Gengar decks, while they're playing all the single strike Houndoom lines and all of that, you know, jank in the deck, their Bibarel line as well as their Crobat is really the only way to draw cards. So if you can kind of target those two things by Path to the Peking and taking out the Bibarel, Gengar decks will really get stuck without having access to research. But Drew went for a completely different approach by only playing 1 research and 3 Marnie, kind of indicating that they're going for more of a disruption route and hitting really hard with Gengar and kind of going for the 2 shots, rather than going for any big one-shots, because there is no single strike energy to modify, but G-Max Swallow Up with a Choice Belt does one-shot on Arceus. But you might be thinking, yes, Arceus with a big charm has 310. What do we do then? Well, Drew played a copy of Tool Scrapper. I think this card was incredibly clutch for him throughout the tournament. They mentioned how many games it had won for them, and they also mentioned how, like, turn 2, a lot of the times they would just go Starbirth into the research to actually get that 1 research off and kind of fill their hand. And once that hand was full on your second turn, you can kind of play the game from there, Marnieing, bossing, Raihaning, whatever really needs to be done. 4 Quick, 4 Ultra, 3 Incense. A very good, I think, combination of cards, like a good group of cards. In this deck, because you don't play Sobbles or anything like that, Level Ball is not good, but having the Bidoof be searchable with the Quick and the Ultra is very strong. 3 Switch, the 2 Hyper Potions, all really good cards. The 1 Big Charm is very interesting as well, and 1 Air Balloon is very good, I think, as well, to just put onto the Beebs, make it be your pivot at some point. And then there's 2 Collapse Stadiums, because Collapse Stadium, you saw in the finals how it really crippled the Suicune player on the other side. Finn was not able to play the game because of this, and Collapse Stadium can really hurt a Mew player if you can go boss up like something important for them, Collapse Stadium, then maybe take out 2 Genesects in the same turn, which is really important because they've probably discarded Genesect somewhere along the line, and then Mew kind of gets stuck on their own clunkier hands. Like, if you're only have 1 Genesect as Mew, all of a sudden you're not as powerful, and you're hitting for Dark typing as well. So that's something really cool to note. Collapse Stadium is a stadium that I slept on a little bit, but I'm really glad to see it do well here this weekend. Huge shout out to Drew. I think Drew did mention in their interview that they would not play this deck again because it's now a known quantity, and you lose to just a simple fighting attacker, which is a glaring weakness because every single card in this deck is weak to a fighting type. So had Drew gone against a fighting style deck, it probably would have been lights out, either Rapid Strike Urshifu, Single Strike Urshifu, that Sandaconda deck that was doing super well. All of those are a little bit difficult to deal with, but overall, a really cool list from Drew. A huge shout out to Drew for winning the tournament. I'm very excited to see what this metagame evolves into for Liverpool Regionals this upcoming weekend, and this is definitely a really cool deck to put on the map. Arceus +1 seems like it's a winning combo as long as you have an answer to deal with Mew in some capacity, either some Dark Attacker or Path to the Peak sticking, like some nature of that combination. Plus your secondary attacker has been very successful. We saw Malamar VMAX this weekend. We saw this Gengar VMAX deck. We saw Beedrill Sandaconda. We saw a lot of really cool innovation coming out this weekend from a lot of players, and I think I'm really excited to see what happens in Liverpool when the greatest player of all time right now, Tord Reklev, will take the stage. And yeah, if you guys enjoy the content, obviously like, subscribe. I will keep doing these style of videos, obviously. I already did a top 16 breakdown of all the other decks. I'll leave it up here. Or I kind of showed it at the beginning of the video, so click on that. But other than that, I will see you guys later for another breakdown, and we'll chill, yeah.